Today, let's talk about exactly how long your savings would last in the case of a layoff. If you're like me, you're somebody that's always worried about this and always calculating for this scenario. And what I found is that many times people do this kind of back-of-the-napkin math. I used to do it myself, where you get out the calculator and you say, well, I make this much per month. I spend about this much per month. About how long could I go? But I think we should get precise about this. It's so comforting to know exactly how long your savings would last. And I think you should be able to do that accurately and even quickly. So today I want to take you through a really quick scenario in sheetkeeper.io. We're going to look at someone that makes about $100,000 a year that's saved up a considerable amount of money, and we're going to see exactly what would happen in the case of a job loss. So let me pull this up and let's do this together. Okay, so what you see in front of us is a scenario for Peggy. Peggy makes $100,000 a year. You can see in the very top line her biweekly paycheck of $24.84. Now she's got some deductions coming out. Peggy has $163 a month for health, dental, and vision, and she's got $300 coming out of her paycheck to her 401k. You can see that down here, her $300, and you can see her 401k balance down here. She's got $184,921 there, and that's appreciating at an assumed 9%. We know that's not going to be a straight line 9%. It's just an assumption that we're using for Peggy. Now, you can see all of her expenses here on a biweekly basis. You can see the arrow on the left-hand side that shows $1,600 going from checking to her rent on a monthly basis. You can see she's got car insurance at $280 a month. And you can see exactly which paychecks it's going to come out of. This is Peggy's plan before any sort of a job stoppage or a layoff. Electricity, $140, gas, water, and sewer. She's got her home internet, her gym membership, cell phone, Netflix, and YouTube TV. Those are all her fixed expenses. Food, gas, and entertainment, she spends $800 combined on those things every pay period. That's not every month. And then she's paying herself first. She's taking $260, roughly 10% of her take-home pay, and putting it into a savings account every pay period, not every month. She's got a car payment, $531 every month. And then here's her checking account. So right now she's got $45.54 in there. And you can see today's balance is actually $56.74. And then this is her projected checking account balance after all of her income and bills for this pay period. She's got $85,622 in a high yield savings account. So Peggy has done really well with saving money for an emergency. Now, before we do anything else, I want to show you what Peggy's future looks like here. Her net worth is going to go from $278,000 here to 5 years from now, she's going to be at $492,000 if we use all these assumptions. 5 years from now, she'll have $16,000 in checking. She'll have $138,000 in savings. We're assuming with that 9% growth rate, she'd have $331 in the 401k. We know that's going to fluctuate quite a bit. And one thing I really want to point out here is that at some point, Peggy paid off her car. So if I'm looking at the actual car loan here, and I scroll back, you can see Peggy's car got paid off on September 12th, 2028 is when that went to zero. And when that happened, automatically, Peggy's car payment stopped. So you can see her checking balance got all the way down to, it was $1,735 in 2028 in June, but then it started to climb really high. So her checking balance without that car payment went way up to $16,000. And if we look at Peggy's net worth chart here, I just clicked on the chart button, you can see it climbing, and you can see there's a little celebration here when Peggy pays off the car, and you can see her net worth climb to $493,000 after 5 years. So you understand exactly where Peggy's at now. And what we want to do is see what would happen for Peggy in the case that she loses the job. And I'm actually going to make a second scenario. I am going to copy this. I'm going to say duplicate. So now I have a scenario that looks exactly like the one from before. This is the one that Peggy would use every day as her model, and she's got a copy of it. This is what happens with no job. So the first thing that we're going to do here is say, well, let's assume on August 4th, this paycheck is going to go away. We'll take the biweekly paycheck, and I'm going to put an end date on it of let's say 8/1/2026. And you can see now that income is gone. So what's going to happen really fast is that Peggy's checking account is going to go straight down. It's still assuming all of this money is coming out of Peggy's checking account. Now I'm going to add two things here. I'm going to add income. Let's call this PTO payout. We're assuming Peggy's got some PTO banked up, and she's going to get about $5,000 that will come in one time. So you can see that $5,000 coming in as income. We're also going to add a severance payment. Peggy's going to get $45,000. Now, this needs to be net. This is after tax, but we're going to assume she gets $45,000 after tax. She's going to get it one time, and this is going to pay out, say, 3 months from now. So she's expecting that she'll get some sort of severance, and you can see that coming in as income. September 29th is when this went in. We're going to keep Peggy's pay periods the same. Even though she won't have the same job anymore and she won't actually get a paycheck, we're actually going to set it up so it feels like she's getting a paycheck from her savings account. It's going to make it a really easy transition for Peggy to be able to just stay in the same rhythm that she is right now with paying her bills and know that she's going to pay herself an income out of her savings account once every 2 weeks on her old pay dates. Now, let's just take a moment here and see what's happening. So Peggy's checking account, it's going to get really low. She's going to get to $811. And then all of a sudden, when this severance payment hits, she's got a $45,000 injection there. And let's see how long that lasts. If I scroll to the right, you can see all the bills are continuing just as normal. Everything's normal. Right here in May 2027, she goes negative. And there's a couple things that we haven't done yet that are really important to do. We gave Peggy some extra income, but what we didn't do is assume her health insurance is going to go away. So we need to add some amount of money to say that she's going to have to pay for her own health insurance. So to make this simple, I'm going to add this as a fixed expense. I'm going to say $800 a month. This may be high, it may be low, it depends on our options. We all know there's a lot of variables in here. And now you can see here on September 1st, we've got $800 coming out, and that's coming out on the 1st of every month. So now with that new expense, if I scroll to the right, Peggy's got until April of 2027 before her checking account runs dry, even with the severance and PTO payout. But there's a couple more things that we can do. First of all, we don't do a 401k transfer anymore. So this 401k amount, we're going to take this down to zero. So you can see that goes to zero. Now we're not putting that $300 away anymore. We're going to turn off the savings deposit. So this pay yourself first, we're going to take this down. So now there's no more going to savings. So now we're at the point where we have a pretty realistic look at what Peggy's expenses are going to look like. And she's got no income coming in at all. And we can see that after all these changes have been made, that she's going to go negative in her checking account in May of 2027. But remember from the beginning, what we wanted to do was say, how long can Peggy live off of her savings? Now we know here that Peggy was going to go negative in her checking account around May of 2027. So what we want to do is start these transfers from savings before that happens. Let's just say she gets to around $11,000 in March of 2027. Let's start these up in March. So I'm going to start the transfer from savings March 1st of 2027. And you can see here on the from savings line, if I scroll to the right, there it is, March of 2027, we start to just take enough out of savings that we keep the checking account perfectly flat, and then the savings account starts to go down. And then if I look at the savings line and I scroll to the right, what's going to happen is we'll see that decreasing, and we'll keep scrolling to the right, and we will see exactly how much Peggy has left in checking and savings every pay period going forward. And right here, June 20th of 2028 is when that savings account hits zero. She starts to pay the bills out of her checking account, and it's really August 29th of 2028 that she's completely in the negative, and she would need to start to resort to retirement funds that she has put away or some sort of debt to keep going. But let's remember this date, August 29th of 2028 is when she's firmly in the negative on both of these accounts. What if we made a second round of changes? We didn't change any of Peggy's expenses, but there are some that we could cut out here. So first of all, let's take out YouTube TV. We're going to keep Netflix. It's like the only fun that Peggy has in her life at this point, and she's going to spend a lot of time at home. We're going to change her mobile to 20. We're going to see if she can find some sort of discount mobile provider or some sort of introductory rate. I'm sorry, but Peggy's got to quit the gym just because she wants to save as much as she can. So we're going to get rid of that. We're going to keep home internet because she's going to be putting resumes out there. We kind of have to keep these other things. We don't want to cut insurance, and she's not going to change where she lives. And also on the irregular expenses, she's got a lot here. We got to keep car maintenance because we're not sure what's going to happen there. And we got to keep renter's insurance. But on these Christmas gifts, she's spending $800 a year right now. And I think everybody's going to know Peggy just can't spend as much as usual on Christmas. We're going to bring that down to $200. And let's make one more big change here. She's got $800 that she spends every pay period on food, gas, and entertainment. This is the really flexible stuff. And if she decides to really crack down on her spending, and she can get this from $800 down to $400, this is going to be really tight. $400 on food, gas, and entertainment is not easy, especially for someone that's used to $800 for those things. Let's see what happens. Now, if we scroll out, remember it was August of 2028 before that Peggy ran out of money. And now in August of 2028, she's going to have $22,000 in checking. She's going to have $7,000 left in savings. And really, if we keep scrolling to the right, it's not until April of 2029 that Peggy's going to run out of money. So really, by making those changes, Peggy bought herself 8 more months through the fixed expenses, but mainly through that change in food, gas, and entertainment spending. Now, it took us only under 10 minutes to do that. And this is a very real scenario. So if we were using this kind of model day to day and we were used to it, we'd be able to quickly switch out that income for withdrawals from savings, and we could see exactly what our income would look like, what our fixed expenses, what our variable expenses would look like, and we could make adjustments and model those adjustments to see where we land in a year, 2 years, 3 years, and you can really get an accurate feel for the amount of runway that you have to find that next job or to decide what you're going to do next. So we got Peggy to a good place, at least a place where she understands exactly what's going to happen in the future. And I think this can be such a good thing for your mindset. When you've been responsible about saving and you know how much you have put away, you have your model that you're using on a regular basis, and you can put that all together and say, in a scenario where I don't have an income coming in anymore, how long do I really have? And you can start to model out, what would I need to cut out of my budget in order to extend that runway that I have? What flexibility do I have? What expected income do I have aside from my income from my job? Put it all together and really get a feel for how long you have. So if you like scenarios like this, then there's a couple things you could do. First, come back to the channel. I'm going to record at least one of these a week and show you different models for different people in different parts of life. And the other thing is sign up at sheetkeeper.io for the waitlist for this app. This is coming soon, and you'll be able to use this yourself to do your own modeling. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one.